Welcome all to the first ever episode of the Rumor Mill with me, Redbeard. Today we're going to cover everything from Ousmane Dembele to PSG. Chelsea's got 3 new signings. What? Spurs, also with 2, and some new Mbappe news. So, let's get into it right now. All right, guys, let's get into it. Remember, check out our Brews and Banter social media platforms, our TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Make sure to join our Facebook group, as well as our Redbubble account. We got some pretty sweet merch on there. New stuff coming out all the time. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. It goes a long way, helps us get into the algorithm. So let's get to it. PSG signed Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona for a reported 55 million euros, according to Fabrizio Romano. It's a crazy story, actually. This one, apparently, his release clause ended on the 31st of July. His agent would have got half the fee. Barcelona would have only got 25 million out of it. Now, because they renegotiated after the deadline, they get a little bit more from what I understand, but still not the full 55 million. Barca rejected a proposal from PSG for Neymar to join them on loan in exchange. I mean, honestly, it's terrible business from Barcelona. They brought Dembele in for over 140 million euros. Only selling him for what they could have got is only 25. That's huge. And PSG, well, they get another injury-prone star with Mbappe looking more likely to leave. What do you guys think? Is he worth it? I don't know. Definitely not guaranteed to be a success. On to Chelsea. Now, they have signed 3 players just this week. 19-year-old winger from Rennes, Leslie Ugochukwu. Looks like he's going to be going on loan either back to Rennes or to Strasbourg. Axel Disasi from Monaco. He's only 25. They signed him for 38 million to provide cover for Wesley Fofana, who is out for a number of months with, I believe, an ACL tear. And then a surprising one for me, Brighton goalkeeper Robert Sanchez to provide competition for Kepa. Now, he was, at the end of the season, a backup for Brighton. We'll see. I think he might be able to pip Kepa for that number 1 jersey. Keeping with Chelsea, they reportedly are linked with an ambitious attempt to pry Real Madrid midfielder Federico Valverde at an offer of 130 million euros per El Nacional. Now, personally, I'm not sure if this one makes sense. It's really out there, and with the amount of money they've already spent in the last 12 months, I don't think financial fair play will allow them to do this, especially with them really going above and beyond to make sure that they're not allowed to sign players to 8-year contracts and spread their fees over that amount of time. Staying in Spain with Barcelona, they want to use the money from Dembele to sign Bernardo Silva and either João Cancelo, Ivan Fresneda, or Jon Fruith. Now, what do you guys think? Is that going to be good enough business for them to stay champions this year, maybe even make a run in the Champions League? Personally, Bernardo Silva would. I don't think Pep's going to let him go. It looks like he's really trying to keep hold of all of his leaders in the dressing room right now. As far as Cancelo, Fresneda, and Foyth, I mean, any of them are good choices. I think Cancelo might be out of their price range. I think Fresneda, though, that one just makes sense. He's got a reported release clause of only 20 or 30 million. He's 19 or 18, very young, very promising, any Spanish talent. It just makes sense for me. So, going with our England perspective, I would say. England teams, yeah. Aston Villa, one of the most surprising teams in this transfer window. They're really going above and beyond to sign big name stars and really push themselves to the next level. This rumor is persisting, and it's not going away because they are persisting in their efforts to sign Barcelona's Ferran Torres. However, it's said that their financial package they offered the Spain forward does not meet his expectations, and I don't know if they can afford a financial package to really sign him. This one coming from Dario Sport. Real Sociedad want to sign Spurs back Sergio Reguilon after signing Andre Silva on loan from RB Leipzig earlier this week from Fabrizio Romano. Sticking with the man himself, Real Sociedad are also in discussions with Manchester United over midfielder Donny van der Beek. Let me know what you guys think. I really think that this one could go all the way. I think Donny would be a great addition to their midfield. They already have a great one. And they need a replacement for David Silva, who retired due to unfortunate ACL injury. Barcelona want to make another big signing before the end of the transfer window with an expected move for Atletico Madrid forward Joao Felix after a few more player sales are finalized. The newest one for Barcelona is Franck Kessie to Al Ahly out this morning from Fabrizio Romano. He apparently is only going for a reported 15 million. I mean, that is 15 million more than they paid for him. I mean, they got him on a free transfer, but all these players they got to ship out, they're going to need a heck of a lot more than 15 million to sign Joao Felix. Turkish side Besiktas have genuine interest in signing Arsenal's failed record signing Nicolas Pepe, who is already rumored to be having his contract terminated. Discussions between the two clubs are set to take place this week. From Fabrizio Romano, that one. Honestly, if I'm Besiktas, I wait. You can get Nicolas Pepe for free if you just wait for them to terminate his contract. If I'm Arsenal, I'm praying that Besiktas comes in with any sort of bid. I would take 5 million for him at this point. I know their asking price is said to be around 15 to 20. Sticking in Turkey, Galatasaray are considering Tungay Ndombele as an option in midfield, and he somehow still plays for Spurs. I know he won the title with Napoli last season, but he's going to get no playing time there, and it looks like he's doomed to be shipped out by Spurs after all their new signings. Galatasaray are also in negotiations to sign Sergio Ramos as their new center back. That would be a big one too. How he fits in with that system and if he can keep up and stay healthy, we'll see. The big news out this weekend, however, is Manchester City. They splashed the cash again and are finally set to have their man in RB Leipzig center back Josko Gvardiol. Final discussions took a long time, with Fabrizio Romano leaking the news that he was what he says is a here we go, the deal was done. RB Leipzig coming out and saying that it wasn't and they don't feel a need to sell him. The deal ended up being a reported 90 million euros up front for the world record center back. If all goes well, he should be having his medical today, and we'll see if he's ready to go by the time the Community Shield starts. Juventus are willing to wait on Chelsea forward Romelu Lukaku as long as Chelsea are willing to send them 40 million euros and Dusan Vlahovic in return. I'll be honest with you, it would be a terrible deal for Chelsea. They would pretty much get nothing for Lukaku, which I guess they just want his wages off their books, but they're going to get a similar player with similar wages in Dusan Vlahovic. For Juventus, it makes sense. You get money, and you get Romelu Lukaku, who has been proven in the Serie A over the years. To me, Honestly, for Juve, it makes perfect sense. For Chelsea, it makes zero sense. You would think someone out there would be willing to pay to at least take him on loan, and you get some money for him. So, speaking of Tottenham's 2 signings, first one, they are on the verge of signing Wolfsburg defender Mickey van der Ven for a reported fee of 50 million euros plus add-ons. That's a very expensive center back, and I think personally, it could be a great signing for them. They are desperate need of a consistent center back with theirs currently very prone to making mistakes. The second one, they have signed a teenage sensation, and he's looking real good in from Rosario Central. See if I can actually pronounce his name. We'll get back to that one. All right. Arsenal now, they're crosstown rivals. They've been linked to break their own transfer record for the second time this summer. With the new target, Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, Napoli have slapped a price tag of 120 million euros on this one. Doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Honestly, it'd be great signing for Arsenal, but spending another 120 million on top of the 200 plus they've already spent, especially since this next bit of news, they have reached an agreement in principle with Brentford goalkeeper David Raya over a move. Both clubs still have to agree with a fee. Thomas Frank saying they want 40 million. Arsenal's opening bid was only 20 million plus 3 in add-ons. I expect it to be rejected by Brentford, honestly. I think 40 million, they're going to hold out as long as they can. But I think Arsenal probably get this one done probably around 25 plus about 5 million add-ons, which is more than they paid for Aaron Ramsdale, which was about 25 million. And David Raya would be providing competition, but it really doesn't make sense to me that David Raya would want to go just to play second fiddle to Aaron Ramsdale. Speaking of Arsenal goalies, Nottingham Forest are in talks to sign Matt Turner and put in their opening bid this morning for their number one goalie, which means they will pass on bringing in Dean Henderson to be back up, or bring Dean Henderson back to the club this summer. Interesting one. Dean Henderson played for them. They know what they're going to get. Matt Turner, pretty unproven in the Premier League. I mean, he's a great goalie for the United States. He's come up with some big saves, but he did not look convincing for Arsenal in the Europa League and the Cup games. They've also submitted an audacious bid for Roma's Roger Ibanez worth 25 million euros. And Nottingham Forest, I guess if they want to stay up, they got to sign big players and big names and spend big money. Speaking of staying up, Everton are in talks to sign Leeds winger Wilfred Gnonto, according to Football Insider. This one just makes sense. Wilfred Gnonto is 19. He's an upcoming talent. He looks like he could be a world beater at some point. Let's see. Do you think he would be a good fit at Everton's setup there under Sean Dyche? I don't know. He's really good going forward defensively, which is how Sean Dyche likes to play. He's very defensive, hitting teams on the counter. I'm not too convinced about him defensively, personally. Sheffield United have signed Arsenal's American defender Austin Trusty on a permanent transfer for a reported £5 million. It's a good piece of business for Sheffield United. Arsenal signed Trusty for, I believe it was 2 or 3 million from New York Revolution. He's gone on loan. Last year he was at Birmingham City. I mean, for Sheffield United, they get a young American talent who's got some promise. Arsenal, they got more than what they paid for him. So, good business all around. Speaking of good business, Lazio have signed free agent midfielder Diachi Kamada from Eintracht Frankfurt, who was on a free transfer as a free agent. I mean, he scored 16 goals and had 7 assists in all competitions last season. I think Lazio have done a great job. They get a proven winger that is very dangerous in attack. He can score, he can provide assists. They get exactly what they're looking for. Makes their attack more potent. Speaking of Chelsea adding more midfield reinforcements, this time they're considering activating the relegation clause of Leeds United's Tyler Adams, according to ESPN. I mean, he'd be good backup for Chelsea. I just don't think he's quite ready yet for a move to the big leagues with a big team. I rate Tyler Adams very highly. However, I don't think it's ready. I would love to see him go to more of a mid-table side, see what he can do, and see if he can stay healthy, and then maybe make a jump to a big team. Speaking of big teams, Manchester City are stepping up their search for a replacement for Riyad Mahrez, with The Athletic claiming that Crystal Palace midfielder Michael Olise is their number one target, and Fabrizio Romano says that 21-year-old Rennes winger Jeremy Doku could also be considered. Michael Olise would be a great signing for anyone in the Premier League, let alone Manchester City. That's a scary proposition to have them have his creative talents and set piece abilities. That would be fantastic for them. Would love to see him go to any other team so Manchester City don't continue to win the Premier League, but we shall see. Inter Milan are in negotiations with West Ham over forward Gianluca Scamacca for 25 million euros plus add-ons. However, there's a certain other team in Italy with some cash to spend looking for a new striker in Atalanta who are looking to hijack the deal and use the money of the sale of Rasmus Højlund to really replace him and get a good value for money. I think Scamacca, if he could have stayed healthy last year for West Ham, could have done big things, but wasn't to be. Their Inter Milan are also interested in signing Arsenal duo Takahiro Tomiyasu and Florian Balogun, with the latter deemed to be too expensive for them. I mean, Inter, if you want a young forward with the Rasmus Højlund deal and you're strapped for cash, Florian Balogun makes no sense to me. He would be a great fit for them, but I don't think that they could afford him. Honestly, Arsenal want a minimum of 50 mil, and it's looking more and more likely that if they get into a bidding war, they will probably try to go for more closer to 70. PSG, speaking of Dembele getting signed for them, they have also reached an agreement for Benfica striker Goncalo Ramos for a reported 80 million, so 65 million plus 15 million in add-ons. The deal finalized soon, medical upcoming, according to Fabrizio Romano. Al Ali have signed Barcelona midfielder Frank Kessie, like I said. I still think he would be better suited with staying in Europe. However, Al Ali see him as an alternative to Safran Amrabat, who is waiting for a bid from Manchester United after already agreeing to terms. So, in terms of an alternative, I think Frank Kessie is a great signing for Al Ali. We'll see how much more players Saudi Arabia can take from all the European teams. They're getting all of the good ones right now that seem to be even relatively up for sale. Speaking of which, even though he just signed for Fulham 18 days ago, Willian has agreed to terms with Saudi League side Al-Shabaab, telling Fulham he wants to move. Marco Silva has said that he does not want him to leave and he will do everything he can to keep him there. We'll see how it goes. I think Willian has spent his time in Europe. Another year with Fulham won't hurt, but I think if he's going to go to the Saudi League, it just makes sense right now. Tottenham face competition from Al Nassr for Barcelona defender Clément Lenglet, with Al Nassr putting in a 15 million euro bid for his service. Tottenham deemed that to be too much for the defender after watching him play last season for them on loan. Honestly, if I'm Tottenham, you got to go in for him if you want him. They just signed Mickey van der Ven. I don't think they need him. I think Al Nassr will pull this one out. And their teenage sensation they did sign is Alejo Veliz from Rosario Central. It was 15 million plus add-ons. He is a wonder kid, highly touted youngster from Argentina. Manchester United are said to be interested in rivaling West Ham for the signing of Bayern Munich and Germany midfielder Leon Goretzka. However, they need to sell Fred, Scott McTominay, or Donny van der Beek first. Fred, it's looking like he will go, and Donny van der Beek looks like he will be going to Real Sociedad, so Scott McTominay will stay out of the three of them. And Leon Goretzka, man, that's a force that they could get into their midfield, and I certainly think that will take their midfield to the next level. However, it's still going to be, like we said on the podcast, it's going to be Rasmus Højlund and how good he really can be. All right, to our Kylian Mbappe news. It's been reported that he is interested in a loan move to Chelsea for the final year of his PSG contract, according to Sport. Honestly, I really don't know why he keeps getting linked with loan deals. I mean, it's 1 year. Doesn't make sense with 1 year left on his contract, even if he's going to go to Real Madrid at the end of that. I guess if he's going to play, you would rather get his wages off your books if you're PSG, but that's a lot of money you're going to lose. There's got to be someone who's willing to at least pay 100 mil for the best player in the world, arguably. For Chelsea, I mean, this deal makes sense. If you're anybody, you're going to want to sign the world's best player for as little money as you can get. And for Chelsea, if they can't afford the full fee for his permanent transfer, get him on loan for a year, help them get back in the Champions League, and then let him go to Real Madrid next summer. I mean, you'll recoup that money real quick if you're Chelsea and you get Mbappe. What do you guys think? Does Mbappe go on loan somewhere, or does he stay at PSG? Or do you think someone's willing to pay the $150 million that PSG want for him? And lastly, the big news. Tottenham and Bayern Munich are still in negotiations for Harry Kane. However, Bayern Munich have given Tottenham a deadline of midnight tonight over Harry Kane after submitting a €100 bid with a possible $20 million in add-ons offer for the English striker. If I'm Spurs, you got to take the deal. I mean, nobody else is going to come in for him. United already signed their striker. You'll lose him next summer for free if you don't. Bayern Munich, it's the missing piece to their puzzle. It just makes sense. Tottenham already looking to move on. They've signed, like we said, Alejo Veliz from Rosario Central. He's young. He could be the next person in line to take over for Harry Kane. They could have him for a long time if he proves himself. With that money, you can go and sign another world-class striker. I mean, Tottenham are still considered a big team, Champions League or not. They won't be able to get the same quality of striker, but the striker that they could get would still give them goals to help them get back into the Champions League. Now, will it be Harry Kane? No. It'll never be the same quality as Harry Kane. That will take years upon years to replace, if ever, because Harry Kane is a generational talent from England. For Bayern Munich, it is an amazing deal. I don't care what price you have to pay. If it's 150 million euros, go for it. It puts them in the conversation for favorites for the Champions League. I mean, they're getting a world-class striker in return, puts the finishing touches on their squad, and it's just the missing link. It makes perfect sense. But what do you guys think? Let us know. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Brews and Banter on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Make sure to check out our Redbubble. Check out our other videos, including our latest one, Messi Mania, out now. What we think of Lionel Messi coming to the United States and what it will mean for U.S. soccer, as well as the comparison between his move and Ronaldo's move to Saudi Arabia. Help us out. Hit the like button. Get this video out into the algorithm. We love y'all. I'm Redbeard for Brews and Banter. Good night.